Here's how I created this autonomous AI SaaS landing page from scratch using Gemini 3.0. If you're a beginner and you're not sure how to use AI yet, this simple workflow will help you design better. And if you already have design experience, you can absolutely start from scratch. But for me, since I'm still learning AI design and don't have a traditional design background, I like to start by going to Dribbble and finding a layout for inspiration. I'm not copying anything, I'm just using it as a visual reference to get a strong starting point and clear direction. I choose this one because it feels unique and I really like the color contrast. Now, even though this layout looks great, it won't work for every type of project. For example, it probably won't fit something like food or wellness. So what I do next is upload the image to ChatGPT or any AI model you prefer and ask something like, I like this layout, what type of subject would fit this design? The AI will give you a list of recommendations. You just go through them and choose the one that makes the most sense for your project. In my case, I picked the AI tool subject. That's what I'm going to build this layout around. Now I go back to Aura, upload my reference image, make sure Gemini 3.0 is selected, and for my first prompt, I type something like, create this layout, focus on tech and SaaS AI tools. I'm using Gemini 3 Pro here because so far it's been the most consistent model for AI generated design. And just like that, this is the first iteration of my layout from a single prompt. You can see it takes inspiration from the original reference image, but the goal isn't to copy it. It's simply to establish a strong visual direction. Now, for the next step, if you're not sure how to write strong prompts yet, here's a simple trick I like to use. Still using the same screenshot as reference, I apply a style prompt template and ask the AI to generate a new design style. In this case, it creates a style called Industrial Grid System. You can read through the prompt to understand what it includes. I just copy the prompt, go back to Aura, and for my second prompt, I ask it to adapt the layout using this new style. And just like that, with a single prompt, you can see the entire layout shift into a completely different visual direction. From here, you can start fine-tuning things like the content, headlines, and color until you're happy with the result. When you see edit made by you, that simply means that I made manual adjustment using the design tab, code mode, fonts, colors, or assets tool. This is helpful because you can refine your layout without burning prompts, and at the same time, you're learning how the system works. Now I move on to updating the images so they match the new theme. I also decided to replace the generated logo name Nexus AI with a custom logo that I created directly inside Aura using Nano Banana Pro. Once your hero section is done and you're satisfied with it, it's really easy to move on and start adding new section. Adding new content to new section can be tricky, especially if you're not very familiar with your subject. We could let the AI handle everything automatically while generating the section, but I like to stay in control and make sure the content actually makes sense. So what I do is download the HTML of my finalized hero section and upload it to ChatGPT. This gives the AI full context of my layout. From there, I ask something like, what section should I add to make this landing page complete? Now you simply review the recommendation. If they make sense, you can start building from there. In this case, it suggests adding a use cases or who this is for section right after the hero. I could let the AI generate it automatically, but I prefer to double check the logic and structure before moving forward. So next, I ask it to generate the detailed content for the use case section. I copy the result, go back to Aura and write a prompt like add a new section after the hero. Then I paste the content from ChatGPT. And just like that, a new section appears right after the hero, keeping the same styling and visual consistency. If you're happy with the result, you simply repeat this process for the next section. Now, Gemini is really good at design, like really good, but there's one thing you need to watch out for. Without clear direction, some section can start to look very similar. But this example, the third section felt too basic and almost identical to the second one. If you keep going like this without making adjustment, the whole layout can start to feel repetitive. So here's what I do. I take a screenshot of that section, upload it to ChatGPT and say something like, "This section feels too basic. Give me a detailed prompt to redesign it with more visual impact." ChatGPT then generates a more detailed design prompt. I copy that, go back to Aura and ask it to apply those changes specifically to the third section. And just like that, the section shifts into a new visual direction while staying consistent with the overall style of the page. From there, I move on to the next section. It's decent, but I know it can be better. So I repeat the exact same process, get a redesigned prompt, apply it, and now the fourth section feels much more complete. Next, I continue with the same workflow and add a pricing section. Right away, I notice the content feels a bit cramped, so I asked the AI to redesign it with more spacing and better structure. After applying those changes, the pricing section looks much cleaner and more balanced. Then I add another section. This one looks good for now, so I leave it as it is and plan to refine it later if needed. Finally, I add the final section, which is the footer. The first version looks pretty basic, so once again, I run it through the same redesign process using a detailed prompt. And now this is the final version of the footer. At this point, the full landing page is finished. Along the way, I also tweaked the logo, added an animated unicorn background, upgraded the pricing section by adding a blurred background behind the cards, and added another animated background to the CTA section to help it stand out more. Now, the layout itself is complete, but it's still static. This next step is optional, but it makes a huge difference. Once you're happy with your final landing page, download the complete HTML file one more time and upload it back into ChatGPT. Then ask something like, "This layout is static. How can I add animation?" After that, ask for a detailed prompt focused specifically on entrance animation and scroll-based animation. Copy that prompt, go back to Aura, make sure Gemini 3.0 is still selected, paste it in, and apply it. And just like that, animation are added to your layout. Now, when you scroll, elements appear one by one, creating a much more dynamic experience, especially on the first load. So this is how you really unlock the full potential of Gemini 3.0 for design. Because without clear direction, even the most powerful models will produce generic results. I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.